So I think you can see with this slide, Intel gave guidance this year, started the year with a mid to high single digit guidance. The company scaled that back in April to mid single digits, which obviously that could be anywhere between kind of 4 to 6% top line growth. The Street's modeling up 4%. So, they're modeling below the midpoint of that guidance. They've reaffirmed that guidance in July. I don't think there's any reason to suspect that at this point they're tracking to anything below that. If you look at the basics or the mechanics of their guidance, the black part of the column in 2016 is literally just an extra week of revenue in 2016 versus 2015. They've got 53 weeks this year versus 52 last year. So that's sort of like just sort of a gimme. The other piece of it is Altera. If you just take Altera was an acquisition that closed for Intel in January. If you take the first half of revenue that Altera put up, which I think was even absent a couple of weeks, and then you annualize it, you basically see that essentially Intel guided to a flat year this year. So again, we're not talking about like aggressive growth guidance. We're talking about a flat guidance for this year, aside from those sort of one-time mechanics. And what's great is if you go to the next slide, slide 6, you'll see that the Street's basically modeling below Intel's guidance, below Intel's implied guidance for 3Q and 4Q. For 3Q, I would say that's sort of just a rounding error, but for 4Q, you can see it's a 3% gap between Intel's implied guidance and Street. So to the extent that sort of people are concerned about Intel's results, or to the extent that people are taking kind of a bearish view, I think the point to consider as an investor is that some of that's already in. And usually when you're thinking about being long Intel, you're sort of in the struggle. You're looking at ways that do your estimates really beat the Street on the top line? Do your estimates beat guidance? In this case, if Intel just comes in line with their full year guidance, it's going to beat the Street. So the setup here is kind of a lowered bar, so to speak, for Intel. In essence, you've got a cheapish stock, cheaper than peers, with a beat and raise right in front of it. I do see a yellow flag rising on towards the future. Now, when does that become material? Is that already in the second quarter of 17, or is that more of like a 2018 problem after 10 nanometer has ramped? I think that's in the category of to be determined. So for now, I'm staying with this long. You can see where I am with this stock. I'm happy to discuss this with anybody who's short today and wants to go through this. I would be nervous shorting the stock today based on the things that I've gone through here. And I'd be fine being long the stock today, and I do think there's still upside. And again, it's hard to find in hardware a good long. There is no clean long in hardware today. This is kind of as good as you're going to get.